this is Ram Chowder. My name is Brian Andrew. I am joined by Lex Torres, or do you prefer Alexis Torres? What do you prefer, my friend?
Dang, all the Facebook names are out there. Let's go with Lex Torres.
All
Let's
right,
go with
cool.
that.
I should have asked you before we started. I asked you like five different things. We were really planning this out, and I didn't even
Yeah.
ask you how you want to be named. If you're watching visually, uh, this is Lex has probably been the face of this podcast since we made the social media accounts. When you think of Ram Chowder, I'm sure you're thinking of that guy.
No, yeah, it's been fun. So, I've had the pleasure of kind of as we've been meeting and talking about certain ideas on how we want to do a Rams podcast. Should we do a Rams podcast, right? Things like that. Um, I was kind of happy to show to Brian a lifetime best friend, actually, which we'll get into. But I was happy to show Brian kind of my recent projects and successes with like social media, more so in the Pokemon world. And so yeah, it was actually kind of it's been a really fun experience to kind of showcase that in early Ram Chowder format. And so yeah, it's kind of like a new little hobby of mine to do those types of memes there.
Yeah, and so one day I was like, you know what? I have yet to find a Rams podcast I'm really into. Might as well do it myself. So I invited Lex, who's a fellow Rams fan. How did you get into the Rams, Lex? Oh, by the way, there was a big trade today. This is why we're recording, but I figured
Yeah,
we could
yeah.
spend a couple minutes on each other.
Right, absolutely. So before we get to the big trade that happened earlier today, um, the way I got into the Rams um, was I've always kind of had that idea or aspect about myself that, oh, I'm a recent Rams fan. I'm a recent Rams fan. But the more and more I say that every year, the more I realize like, oh, I've been a Rams fan for years now, right? But I actually got into the Rams when they first moved back to LA. So this had to have been oh man,
2016.
2016, right? And so this was the Jeff Fisher era, right? And so I said one of the trigger words today for all Rams fans out there, but
Hey, he was one of my low-key favorites.
yeah, yeah, right, yeah. And so especially personality wise, I was definitely on board with Brian there. But yeah, it was when the Rams had announced that they were moving back to LA. That's when I first became a Rams fan. So I kind of have a little bit of an interesting villain origin story when it comes to football, though, because I've been a football fan or an NFL fan since around 2007, around there, maybe a little earlier. And the way that I kind of have my sports fandom, for those who know Brian, he runs the LA Clips forum, so he's a Clippers fan. The way I usually run, uh, kind of who I choose to, I was about to say to vote for.
Well,
This is
before, yeah, by the way, I'm sure there's some people who'll be, wait, this is the Clippers guy. I'm not gonna
yeah,
listen to the shit. Just so you know, Lex is your overall LA sports guy, Dodgers, Lakers. So don't worry,
exactly.
he'll fit that need for you. While I over here act like a punk alternative sports fan. But go for it. I'll let you
the
finish.
the the hipster team.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So just as Brian mentioned, I'm definitely the LA guy, right? LA Dodgers, LA Lakers, but NFL when I got into football and they didn't have an LA team. I know there were people who felt LA, right? There was a lot of Raiders fans who kind of claimed LA when we didn't have an LA team in the NFL. I wasn't going that route, as big of a Dodgers fan as I am. I can't go Raiders. I'm sorry. Um, but I was an Atlanta Falcons fan, and that's so random. That's nowhere near LA. But the reason being is because I loved Michael Vick. So Michael Vick is always, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. Exciting to watch, and so I was a Falcons fan all the way up until the Rams moved back to LA in 2016. I don't know if you remember this. I had a conversation with you, Brian, where I was like, "Oh man, I feel bad for switching teams. Should I just stay a Falcons fan?" And Brian encouraged me. He was basically just like, hey, you can do whatever you want. If you want to switch, go ahead and switch. If not, then stay. And that was all the encouragement I needed to kind of bring it home to the LA fandom with the Rams here. So
I think it's different in the NFL. I
yeah.
feel like in every other sport, there's like an established team in LA. If you're from the LA area and you want to root for an LA team,
Hmm.
there's established teams. There's some people who might have a preference of like rooting for the Orange County teams or something of that nature.
Yeah.
But when we were teenagers, kids, teenagers, even young adults, for the most part,
Yeah.
there was not an NFL team here. The closest team was in San Diego. There was the two teams in the Bay. That's why you get a lot of those like Dodger 49er fans. But so my dad was a Rams fan. I was kind of, I feel like this is how it works for most families is that you're kind of like born into your fandom and then you make a choice at some point.
Mhm.
I made that choice when it came to some of my other sports that I was not going to follow my dad's footsteps, but there was not a team here. So I just kind of I was rooting for the Rams. But probably the first year that I actually knew what the hell I was watching on TV, or at least grasping the idea of football, was the Greatest Show on Turf, the first Super Bowl in St. Louis. That was the first time I actually grasped. So that's why sometimes I'm like, I feel like I've been a Rams fan when they were like originally in LA, but I had no
Mhm.
idea what football probably really was. So if I'm being brutally honest, it was the first year they won the Super Bowl, which is tough because I started on a high,
Mhm.
then they go back to the Super Bowl, lose to the Patriots, which was crushing,
Yeah.
and then they've managed to just absolutely just shit the bed until basically Sean McVay came. There was some years, I remember like an 8-8 Sam Bradford year where if we beat the Seahawks or something in the final game of the season, we would make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it was interesting too because since they were in St. Louis, they were not part of my like the NFL has this like the way the TV works is that you get your regional team
Mhm.
most likely every Sunday. So like no matter what, if the Rams are playing Sunday, whether they're playing at 10 a.m. or 1 p.m., we get the Rams game.
Mhm.
Same thing with the Chargers. We didn't have that. So back then, I believe it's like we got every Raiders game,
Mhm.
and I think we got every I want to say every 49ers game, but I want to say maybe it was the Chargers. I don't quite remember. But I
Mhm.
remember it was every Raiders game for sure. But since the Rams played in St. Louis, I really only saw them like on prime time if they had like a Monday night game, Thursday night game, Sunday night game, something of that nature.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult to kind of keep up, but I still kept up. And then if I, without getting too deep into it, because like we're here to talk about a trade, we could talk more about this stuff later. But it's like,
Yeah.
just interesting things, you know. When they moved back to LA, uh, I was really into the team, makeshift jerseys, the helmets not matching the jerseys exactly every week, playing in the Coliseum with like the USC logo like kind of
Right.
shaded beneath it a little bit. It was very raw and it was cool to have the team here. And then they basically moved into an IKEA in Inglewood, and so I just feel like you know I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but well, hey, it's a nice stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. I
Yeah.
just as someone who thinks sports culture is important, I just feel like it lacks that a little
Ooh.
bit.
We'll have to
Um,
hear more about that soon.
yeah, but we're not here to talk about us, even though we did.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about a trade. So, um, first, before we get started on this trade, Lex,
Mhm.
break the fourth wall.
Yep.
We originally were going to start this podcast if the Rams won the NFC Championship and went on to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
We weren't ready, but we're like, hey, this is where it's going to be the highest buzz. That didn't happen.
Mhm.
I said when they make their first big move of the offseason, that's when we'll make our first episode. Well, before we get into this trade, how do you feel how last season went, Lex?
Yeah, so last season was interesting for me because I remember my feelings going into the 2025 season. Uh that oh man, we're gonna suck this year. Oof, I don't really feel, too hot and confident about how well we're gonna play. Matt Stafford's getting old now. Oh, there's no way he can um, really survive the season, let alone like take us anywhere in the playoffs. Having said that, hindsight's 2020, and look at everything that happened. So, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't as confident as the season played out. I was genuinely surprised every single game. Like the weekend would end, and I would have that feeling of, oh, we played a really good game. Oh man, week two we played a really good game. Right, like every week that would end, like I was kind of pleasantly surprised, and I don't know I don't know if you could relate to this, but I felt that every single game, even as well as they did in the playoffs. Every single playoff game. I feel like Brian and I's text messages also kind of reflected the whole, if we move on, then we could think about getting started with the podcast. And then we win. Then we'd win, right? And then it was just the same vibes though. If we move on, maybe we could do this, but we would just keep winning and winning. And um it was a season that I feel like morally, like it was kind of like a moral victory for me. Like we did pretty good, but um, yeah, always a bad way to go out, and especially on the last one, just too many mistakes that had happened in that last game on the Rams side that a team just can't win a game making those types of mistakes, that many mistakes, and so it was just kind of like a sour ending, but pleasantly surprised at how well we did overall as a season. So that was kind of like my general takeaway as far as my feelings throughout the season. So I can't complain in that sense, but always sucked to go out the way that we did.
Are we cussing on this podcast? Are we yes or no?
Um, oh, good question. We got to make a decision now, huh? I say so initially I was gonna be like, I say no, but it's also football. And on
No.
Sundays when the Rams drop the ball, like, a cuss word or two might slip out, and that's okay.
As long as I don't, as long as we don't ruin the integrity of the podcast by just cussing the whole time,
Yeah, yeah,
I think we could let a couple out at an episode. And if we
yeah,
feel like it's not appropriate because of our work lives or something, then we could
yeah.
stop.
There it is.
That
I'm
that
like,
be
I'm Lex Mother effing Torres. This is the Rams.
that being said, I have two thoughts on last season. I kind of went into the season thinking like we'll probably fight for a good playoff spot, and we'll be kind of not mediocre, but we'll be like one of the better half teams. We'll probably get one of those last couple seeds.
Mhm.
What really happened is we were actually one of the best teams in the NFL, but we still managed to get one of those lower seeds just because of the way the standings worked out.
Yeah.
Uh, and my second thought is I fucking hate the Seahawks, and I think it sucks that they won the Super Bowl on top of it.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I went to USC. I'm a big USC guy. It was good to see Sam Darnold win, but I wish he did it in a different uniform. I wish he
Yeah.
literally went in like into the Patriots locker room or something, put the uniform on, and then he's like he called all the USC Seahawk guys and was like, "Hey, let's play for the Patriots today." I know that, but
Yeah.
well, I would have fucking hate the Patriots winning too. But all right, so I'll try not to cuss the rest of the podcast. Let's talk about this trade. I don't know how many minutes we are into this podcast, but we are. This is what people probably are tuning in for us to talk about.
Mhm.
So today the Rams traded for Trent McDuffie, the cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs receive first round pick number 29. We still
Mhm.
kept 13. Our fifth round pick, our sixth round pick, and next year's third round pick.
Mhm.
So I feel if you're looking through social media, you're looking for some experts. You're on ESPN, you're on some of these NFL websites. I think people have a mixture of takes. The Rams had a serious weakness last year with their defensive backs. You
Yeah.
got one of the best defensive backs available. Um, did you trade too much to get him? Arguably, maybe yes. But we still have a first round pick.
Mhm.
And I am a little concerned that Les Snead's going to be like, well, we don't need that pick either. And then they go out and get somebody else.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I
Think of that.
so this is the way I look at it, and I kind of mentioned this to Lex before we got on. Two thoughts. We improved where we have one of our weaknesses. We got one of the best players. Yes, we'll probably have to extend him, but there's more
Hmm.
cap room this year to do so. I actually feel like that's a really good move for the Rams.
Hmm.
I've had this feeling though for years. Whenever the Rams trade one of their first round picks though, I'm always kind of like I get that uneasy feeling. We've
Yeah.
done it though before. We pulled this type of move to get Jalen Ramsey before. We won a Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
So, or what was it the year after? It might have been the year after.
Good question.
Yeah, go look. Appreciate you looking that up for me.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
might have been
definitely.
it might have been the same year because I feel like it was like not a mid-season trade. I don't think it was a mid-season trade, was it? It might have been. So I'm kind of in that thought of like, well, you traded, so you have two first round picks. So those two first round picks could be starters because usually your first round pick usually starts. So you traded two starters away who are going to be on rookie deals for a player you're going to have to pay to, or at least extend if you want to get the most out of this deal. Plus, we traded a fifth round and sixth round picks. To some teams, that's nothing, but the Rams have done a really good job over the years
Hmm.
of building defenses and building offensive lines and sometimes their skill players in the fifth and sixth round.
Hmm.
Like Kyron's a fifth round pick. Usually I would probably say the majority of their defenses are guys they picked up later in the draft to kind of fill the voids when they had to pay for like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford. The cap space wasn't as big back then. They had to pay those players. So they really fill those voids on defense and offense and the offensive line with a lot of these players they picked later in the draft. They
Hmm.
went years without a first round pick until they got Jaron Verse. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I trust the Rams that they know what they're doing here. They still
Yeah.
have a first round pick, so it's not the end of the world. But I could see the argument that it's too much.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so first so when we signed Jalen Ramsey in 2019, I think 2 seasons later we won the Super Bowl. But yeah, he was definitely a key part of that Rams team and that defense. And yeah, my initial thoughts were um like you said, right? We see the trade happen. Um we go on ESPN, we see what all these people are saying. And so I'm seeing, elite cornerback. This is good. This is definitely something we need. Um, and I think my first impression was that we gave up too much. As good as he is on defense, um, I felt like a first round pick uh is he's worth it, but then we stacked on a lot on top of that. But to be honest, I was reminded that we had that other first round pick, so I think it's like the number 13 overall pick, right? The Falcons pick,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
and
um
there's one player I want, and
really,
I don't care if it
I have
makes
two
your
questions for you.
okay, go
What's
for it.
first of all, what's that one player that you're thinking of with the
Okay,
13th pick?
so I'm a homer first of all. So I'm a big USC guy. The
Yep.
rant Makai Lemon. I want Makai Lemon. I don't know if you saw his viral news conference video, but it's fun. Go check it out. It's funny. I want Makai Lemon. I don't. He could be our wide receiver three, and then
Mhm.
when Devontae Adams moves on, or if Puka gets himself in trouble and he's not
Yeah,
worth the trouble, and the Rams want to move on from him,
yeah,
which they shouldn't, but I could see the Rams being frustrated with him at some point in the
yeah.
next couple of years. Makai Lemon, he's small, but he's good, and he might end up being the first wide receiver taken, but I have a feeling he won't be. So he might fall to 13. Maybe the Rams
Mhm.
could trade up. That's who I want. They probably won't do that. They'll
Mhm.
probably draft some dude from like a SEC school
Yeah,
or something like that, defensive end or something. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, and I like the defense, especially after this trade. I'm feeling great about, feeling even better about the Rams defense, right? You had mentioned this was the DB area was one of their bigger holes. I think you mentioned something interesting about the other pick now, right? Our remaining first round pick of the Rams so far, and you'd mentioned that, um, you kind of have this inkling or this feeling that like, uh-oh, knowing the Rams, they could possibly move that pick too. In your opinion, Brian,
Hmm.
who's one player who you wouldn't mind picking up? Or what types of players would you not mind receiving if we did give away that first
Ooh,
round pick?
that that's a,
Um,
that's a heavy
any
question.
names come to mind?
No. Um, Honestly, okay, so let's look at this trade for a second. Trent
Yeah,
McDuffie, PFF grade. You don't need to know what PFF grades are. Just know if it's good, it's good.
yeah.
I trust the PFF people. I'm not gonna go dig deep into what they do. I'm just gonna be like, you graded this player good. I trust you. He graded 12. He graded as the 12th best cornerback last year, but he did not play the final four games due to a knee injury.
Mhm.
So grading 12, missing the final four games is actually really good.
Wow.
The year before, he was tied for third in the NFL. He's considered a top 100 player. He's considered a top five cornerback. He is worth a first round pick. He's probably worth the other pick. He is probably worth this package that
Gotcha.
we traded. It's just a matter of should we have done it or not. Or could we have done it with maybe not trading last year's third round pick? I mean, next year's third round pick or something of
Mhm.
that nature, right? There's always just a little extra. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs were like, hey, you gotta give us more. And then the Rams
Yeah.
were like, you want next year's third? Like that's kind of how that's how I am in Dynasty. That's how I rock in Dynasty. I don't Lexus played Dynasty fantasy football with me, and I'm just like, I'll do it for another pick next year. I'm like, sure, just take it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
They were in the like the fourth stage of the negotiation by that time where they're like the way I'm sure this is annoying to all of my dynasty league members or any person who's shared a fantasy football league with me, but like I'll always give like a feel percentage, like, oh, I'm like a 70% yes on that trade so far. And I'm sure like the Chiefs, like you're saying the Chiefs are probably on, they were like, hey, we're at about an 85 or a 90%, and then the Rams are probably like, hey, you want this third? And
Yeah.
and you know what? After you say that, I like to think that's canon now. I'm gonna say that's how it went down.
I'm in the war room with them. I'm just like this is how it went down.
So
I so we'll get into this idea of the Matthew Stafford window as well, right?
yeah.
Because I'm kind of in two worlds, right?
Mhm.
Is you did technically win a Super Bowl. I understand that, winning culture, you're trying to win as many as possible.
Yeah.
But there's also this idea of like there is eventually going to be a post Stafford team, and usually having first round picks on rookie contracts is ideal.
Yeah.
And you were about to get two of them, and at least one of them could contribute. Like if one of them doesn't pan out, you have a chance that the other one will.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a defensive back that they liked. I don't know if there's defense. You could probably find a really good defensive back later in the draft too, but
Mhm.
then you're also chancing it. Sure. So I'm on the Rams state propaganda website, the Rams.com, and the reason I say that is, and I'll answer your question about the first round pick, but
Yeah.
there's a reason. I'll get there. Is usually when I'm looking for news from any of my sports teams, I'm not looking on their website because their teams kind of warp the story into what they need the story to be. If you
Yes.
really want content about your players, whether there's a scandal, injury, or something of some of that nature, you're usually looking at your local beat writers to answer those questions for you.
Yeah.
So I found it interesting though because I go on the Rams website and I'm like, I'm intrigued on what the Rams are willing to share with,
Mhm.
the community, and so there's some takeaways, right? And one of them was they do have pending free agents at the cornerback position, Kobe Durant, Witherspoon, and McCreary, and Darian Kendrick. They were gonna. I think they mentioned that they would have been left with three corners on their active roster. Yes, they would probably try to bring back a couple. Yes, they'll probably draft a few in the NFL draft. Trading a fifth and sixth round pick though makes that a little less difficult later in the
Mm-hmm.
draft.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of, but they they've obviously improved at the position though.
Yeah.
Uh, but then there's this headline that they have where it says using free agency to not be desperate in the draft. Right? And I was like,
Mm.
interesting. So my thoughts on that are they're going to fill the holes that they feel like they have on their team, which is special teams, not their kicker. The thicker kicker, great.
Yeah.
Punter, he was
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
It's the special teams of like, your punt return, your kick return coverage, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Uh I and then obviously they had some holes on defense. You could also make the case that they can improve offensively in some areas as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like they're gonna fix those holes in free agency and then go into the draft and draft maybe just the best player available that they see. They're not going to necessarily have to fill any voids in the roster. They're just going to fill them in free agency. Sure,
Mhm.
right? Like I said, this is state propaganda, like or stuff. This
You
is
know what that reminds me of? Like, like Big Pharma. You're
yeah,
like, I don't support big Rams.
yeah. Like, I don't appreciate the man telling me how I should feel about this team. So
Yeah.
they start talking about contract extensions, and you
Mhm.
ask, like Puka's available, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, Steve Avila. Like these are all important players.
Yeah.
Sure, that's going to affect the cap room. Then
Mhm.
they have this headline where it says, "Will first round picks be used for now or the future?" Why would the Rams put that on their own damn website?
Yeah.
So I'm like, so answering your question, is there a player that I would be like, sure? There's not a lot of them in the NFL. Like if they went out
Mhm.
there and found a way to get one of the top 4 or 5 wide receivers to put next to Puka Nakua,
Yeah.
I would be like, oh yeah, hell yeah. But if they found a way to maybe replace Robert Havenstein or something, which
Uh-huh.
it's not sexy, but if you got a sure thing on the offensive line, maybe I would be
Mhm.
okay. I really want them to draft a player though that could be part of this next generation post Stafford Rams. Um, Someone that we could develop, be fans of. Keep in mind though, like all these Ram players that we think are really good too. Like Puka Nacua was a fifth round draft pick as well. Was
Yes.
Kyron
Yeah.
not a fifth round pick, or am I confused? Were they both fifth round picks?
Uh, you said Kyron?
Yeah, Kyron and Puka, they were both fifth round picks, I thought.
I'm gonna double check. I want to say he was not a fifth round pick, but I remember Puka did go super late. Um,
I'm sure I could figure
Williams.
this out real fast. This is great content.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. His draft pick was, um, well, we're gonna have to do some math here. 164th pick, fifth round. You're right. Wow.
who? Puka or
Kyron, yeah.
Kyron? And I think
164 overall, fifth round pick, Kyron Williams.
okay. So
And I'll just have to chime in real quick with a little anecdote here. You'll
mhm.
you'll quickly learn about Brian. Every episode is this man cannot be stumped. He knows the most facts I've ever
I
uh received or witnessed from a football fan and specifically college. So we have a
I
game we like to.
I am not as good as I was when I was
Oh,
like a young adult teenager who lived
yeah,
by himself and didn't have anything going on in his life. I have a family now.
yeah.
I can't learn who went to like University of Tennessee Martin and played offensive guard. But
This is Jordan with the Wizards right now.
yeah, this is this is Jordan owning the Hornets.
God.
Uh, but the one player that I really think like, and I would still be iffy about it because they already did the Trent McDuffie deal. I think if they
Uh-huh.
didn't do this deal and they did the deal I'm about to talk about, is Max Crosby.
Yeah.
because he's been I guess quote unquote his agent's been flirting with other teams trying to make another deal going,
Yeah.
and the Rams were part of the that rumored list.
Hmm.
Um I he's he's a Clippers fan, so I know that. Like that's where like my Clippers knowledge comes in, is I can tell you who's a Clippers fan.
Hmm.
And the Clippers play right across the street from SoFi Stadium. He likes being in LA. He did go to college in Michigan, but he
Yeah.
seems like a very Southern California guy now. So I
Yeah.
feel like, and I think he would love to play for a winning team. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like that trade would be more than the McDuffie trade. Now, would the Raiders be like, well, the 13th pick's obviously better than the 29th pick. So just give us the 13th pick, maybe give us another first round pick in the future,
Yeah.
which was kind of like the Jalen Ramsey deal. I think it was like a 2020 and 2022 first rounds, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a player that I think, but I really would rather kind of just see the Rams go into the draft, take somebody, especially now that you kind of traded some picks in the back end of it.
Yeah.
I would say keep your first round pick.
Hmm.
Worst case scenario doesn't pan out. Because if you look at it from this perspective too, uh, at pick 29, the Rams are about to pick somebody.
Hmm.
You could pick anybody in the draft, or you could have the sure thing cornerback from the
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs, all pro, has done it before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So um, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Do you have any further thoughts, or do you have any like thoughts on what they could do with the pick or this trade?
Yeah, I do like the idea of keeping the pick. Having said that, you brought it up a little earlier too. The Rams, uh, as of recent, right in the Sean McVay era, the Rams are really known for refusing to ever hold on to a first round pick. So you met who was it? Jared Verse was probably like the only first round
Yeah,
pick we've had in
he's the only pick I think since like 2017 or something.
he's
2016,
literally
I think 2016 was Goff,
yeah.
and then 27, and then like 2 years ago or something that he or 2 3 years ago was Jared Verse. Other than that, they've never had a first round pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I like the idea of keeping it. Um, I'm gonna,
And Goff was a Fisher pick actually.
yeah, that's how
So
long it was. Yeah.
yeah, technically Verse is I think the only McVay pick.
Yeah. So, um, man, I wouldn't be so I would like to keep it. I wouldn't be mad if we traded it. I like the Max Crosby idea, but I would also fear that whatever we would or whoever we would trade the first round pick for, this number 13 overall, I fear that it's gonna come bundled up with like a second round of next year, a third round, a first round of next year. Like it's going to be a huge bundled up thing like this. Uh, since again, historically speaking, this Sean McVay era, if I'm not mistaken, so Jalen Rams and you mentioned he was two first round picks. Matt Stafford's deal. I remember there being a bunch of picks sent that way for Matt Stafford,
Hmm.
including Goff, right?
I believe so.
Uh,
Yeah.
and and then today's deal. I have a feeling. Okay, I have a feeling. Let's just say Max Crosby's the guy. I have a feeling we're probably giving up this year's first round, and then next year's first round, and then the following year's fourth round.
Mm.
That's my big prediction. I have a feeling it's going to be something like that. Um, what would you say if it was not this year's first round? Yet we gave up the next 2 years of first rounds picks for
Sure.
Max Crosby.
Honestly, sure.
Yeah.
Because the Rams are going to be at least relevant.
Hmm.
So that pick's probably 15, pick 15th plus. But
Interesting.
we get a pick that's number 13. There's a
Mhm.
like you know how shitty you have to be in the NFL to have a 13th pick in the draft, and we got it because the Falcons were shit.
Yeah.
So
There it is. There it
like
is.
that's kind of where I'm at. Like if we were able to pull it off without trading this, but we I think we'd have to trade this year's. So
Yeah.
um And to be honest, like Max Crosby is not necessarily a player of a lot of need.
Hmm.
We have some good players on the line. We have some good players in that front seven.
Yeah,
So it would be that we don't think we could extend or bring some people back, and then that's why we have Max Crosby now.
gotcha.
But I feel like trading for McDuffie today kind of I don't think the Crosby thing is and it's more of dreaming than it is
Yeah,
reality. But I don't know. He's a player that's got a big name, would sell jerseys,
yeah.
especially to people who agree with Max Crosby on things. uh, but what this trade too, I think, says is like this Matthew Stafford window.
Yeah,
Um, I've been probably for the last 5 years secretly been in that camp of like, hey, older quarterback, let's start
yeah,
thinking about the next one.
yeah,
And every year, Matthew Stafford will come to like training camp with like a broken hand or something and be like, ah, he's still good to go.
yeah,
And I am now kind of in that like, all right, at this point, let's just finish the ride with Stafford. Just let him retire here.
Interesting. Yeah,
Um, extend him. Uh, it's just at some point though, I feel like he's gonna be like, hey, you know what? I want to hang out with my family or something. And then like,
yes,
I just don't want the Rams to be caught with their horns in their hand.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I just want them to kind of. I'm not saying draft a quarterback in the first round this year,
yeah.
and I'm not saying that they need to draft or get another quarterback or anything like that. I just want them to be kind of like hyper aware. Every year could be the year that he just decides not to do it again. Like
Yep.
this, that was the storyline going into this offseason. And then he had the speech at when he got the MVP, and he was like, "All right, we're gonna do this again." It's like I had a feeling he was gonna do it again, but you never know.
Yeah.
You could just be like, "I'm done. I'm tired of going to training camp with like a sore forearm or whatever." Like I feel like every time he's in camp, he has like a random arm injury or a finger
Yeah.
injury or something, and it's like, oh, is he gonna be good to go? And he always is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and so I feel like yeah, they do need to maximize this window. I do
Mhm.
think they need to bring in players to make the team better. I'm intrigued on how they'll handle that in free agency. I'm intrigued on how they'll draft to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I trust McVay. I trust Stafford as long as he's healthy. I think we'll be good.
Yeah.
But I do think like today's trade is this is Matthew Stafford's window trade and not
Yeah.
what's trade in the best interest of what this team might look like 3 or 4 years from now. But who
Exactly.
knows? Matthew Stafford could be the quarterback 3 or 4 years from now. Like
That's the way it's shaping up.
yeah.
Like you could probably narrow the year down for me a little bit better, but it feels like not this past season, but it feels like some of the last 2 or 3 seasons before Matt Stafford looked like he was on his last leg. Like, oh, this is it. This is the year we're gonna have to put down the old dog, right? And
Hmm.
then he's literally MVP, like following year. This doesn't make sense, but I like your opinion there of this has been a 180 of how you felt over recent seasons, right? You like you just mentioned you preferred that we moved on and but now it's like, hey, since we've made it this far, might as well just kind of finish out his career here. Um, but if we keep the 13th overall pick and we go quarterback, who would you like to see at
Uh,
number
at,
13
at
overall?
quarterback, like let's just say the Rams were like, "Hey, let's just make this extremely uncomfortable for Matthew Stafford coming back, and let's get a
Yeah,
quarterback."
yeah,
Ooh, I don't see. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at them. Let me look. Let me take a look at a mock draft real
yeah,
quick, just because I don't know out of the quarterbacks that are entering the draft this year,
yeah.
which ones fit that like uh not top five, but also not below 20
Like in that
range.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let me take a quick look, real quick. And to answer your question though, like not but to your point,
yeah,
uh the year after they won the Super Bowl and they had that god awful year, that was the year where I was like, all right, cool, experiment done.
Yes.
That I was, and then every year after that, they decided not to look toward the future.
Yeah.
They kind of doubled down.
Yep.
I was in the wrong. It seems like it's worked out. NFC Championship. They've had really
Yeah.
good teams since then. Uh, I've been in the wrong every year about it. So this year I'm a little bit higher on them, which means they'll find a way to let me down. But that year after Super Bowl, the experiment over. Cool. You put a
Yeah.
lot of money into Ramsey. Uh, we won a championship for Aaron Donald. We had Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford. Cooper Cup can't stay healthy. The
Yeah.
experiment's done. Let's cut our losses and
Yeah.
let's try to like, quote unquote rebuild. But now I feel like we don't necessarily need to rebuild. We just need to um, look toward the future while still competing now. Like so, for example, keeping the first round pick, and you get whoever you get a really good player. Let's
Hmm.
just say you get a really good wide receiver at 13.
Hmm.
He's not going to probably play above Devontae Adams and Puka, but Devontae Adams is not a spring chicken either. Like he's probably going to retire maybe in the
Sooner than
next
later.
2 to 3 years. If depends how
Hmm.
well he's playing. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the Rams will let him know if he's not keeping up.
Yeah.
So then you have a young player who's still maybe on his rookie contract that you could slot in right there.
Hmm.
But I guess you could get a wide receiver anywhere in the draft. So maybe I'm just being a little bit like I said a homer on the Mackay Lemon thing. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
let's see here. Let's see if there what quarterbacks are available. So like for example, Mendoza's going to the Raiders.
Hmm.
That'll be interesting. Like honestly too, like if I'm being honest with you, like I'm intrigued on where Kyler Murray's gonna go.
Ooh.
Like, and we could count on the Cardinals to suck.
Yeah.
So the Rams will always find a way to at least be somewhat good.
Yeah.
Like there's not really like a quarterback in this range that I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so
And so
I really hope that's not the case.
exactly. Yeah. And so in that case, right? You mentioned kind of like the experiment over year was kind of the 2022 season. That was 4 years ago, right? And
Hmm.
I was under the same impression. Oh man, Matt Stafford on his way out. I felt like that in 2022, and I felt like that again. It wasn't this past season. It had to have been the season or two before that, maybe just 2 seasons ago. Then, where it just looked like it was over for him, and he's still kicking. Um, if you had to place a Vegas odds bet on it, um, how many more seasons do you see Matt Stafford playing?
At least, okay, I'll put it to you like this: at least two. But if they won the Super Bowl this year, I think he retires.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Because if he was that close, or I'm not saying he was that close, but the rumblings were close enough this
the
year.
rumor
I
mill.
wouldn't have been surprised if he won the Super Bowl this last year, that it would have been his final year. He wins
Yeah,
MVP, wins the Super Bowl, gets to walk away. There you go. But
yeah,
if we're just saying Rams are close every year, maybe they get to the Super Bowl in his final year. At
yeah,
least 2 seasons, I think we get of Matthew Stafford. This season, the season after, for sure.
yeah,
That's just feeling. That's just
yeah.
that's just where I'm at. But I also felt that way 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Like I thought Matthew Stafford was on that, trajectory of, all right, we did it here, experiment over, go sign your Kirk Cousins deal where you get like 5 years of like stupid amount of money to go play for another team somewhere, right?
yeah.
But no. Uh, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, so I'm right there with you on the vibes and like kind of like the rumor mill of, oh man, he might just call it quits on top, right? Or just retire on top, go out on top. And I felt like it was probably going to happen this year. I feel since he was so close, here's my little hot, I guess like not so hot take. Since he was so close to retiring this year, I think no matter what, I would put my Vegas money on him retiring this upcoming season. So at the end of the season, I think he's going to retire, win or lose. And that's kind of man, but it's like you were saying that you were proven wrong. And I feel like I'm finally starting to have my doubts. Um, or I guess like I had my doubts like over the years on Matt Stafford's longevity, but something tells me that this might be his last season, win or lose, and I'll put my money on that. I think.
So apparently he's trying to work out a deal with the Rams, and so that makes me think that there's actually another season somewhere on top of it,
Yeah, like at least a 2 year then. Yeah,
or it could just be signs 3 to 4 year deal. If he wins the Super Bowl in that range, he'll retire. He'll leave money on the
retire.
table.
Yeah,
Like most of it will be guaranteed up front or something,
yeah, yeah,
something of that nature.
definitely.
And then, uh, yeah, if he walks away, the Rams don't have to take the hit on the salary cap, whatever year that is.
Yeah,
But maybe he's like, I think I could do this for 3 more years of just trying to win a Super Bowl.
yeah.
But
Let's say he takes it 2 more years, uh, and you're in charge of the Rams. When do you draft a quarterback if he's going to play for 2 more years?
it depends. I would see what the market is at
Yeah,
the end of the season because there could just be a really good quarterback that, like, for example, let's just say this is the year. Like Matthew Stafford was like, you know what, dude, I'm done. Bye. I'm gonna go hang out with my family.
yeah,
If I was the Rams, I would be, and I know some people are gonna like laugh at this. This might ruin the integrity of our podcast in the first episode. But the Cardinals are getting rid of Kyle Murray. I would be like, okay, why don't you just bring Kyle Murray in, but also draft a quarterback.
yeah. Okay.
But I wouldn't draft any of these first round. I don't want Ty Simpson on my team. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I would probably look like I'd wait until there's a draft class where I'm like, there's 3 or 4 studs, and you just gotta get one of them.
Yeah.
So I I I don't feel like that's in this class, and that might not even be next year's class either.
Hmm.
So if I was the Rams, get like Kyle Murray or get a veteran quarterback and just slap a band-aid on the situation until you could figure out like your more long-term
Like a
situation.
better future. Yeah.
The only other one too that I feel like if the Rams think they could get any ounce of whatever the potential was,
Hmm.
like because I know Anthony Richardson's on the market too,
Yeah.
and Anthony Richardson to me is actually a really good. Now it just depends on like what they will, because the Rams always will be like, hey, we got Jimmy G. And I'm like, that, I don't, okay,
Like the longest tenured backup quarterback. I forgot he was even on the team.
like he's been to so many like NFC championships or
Yeah.
conference championships or something like that.
Mhm.
I would look at something like Anthony Richardson and just be like, let's just bring him in as the backup quarterback. The
Yeah.
upside, the potential, and if it doesn't pan out, if it doesn't work out, cut your losses.
Yeah.
But if the potential's there, then maybe you don't need to draft a quarterback 3 years from now. Maybe it's just Anthony Richardson learns under Matthew Stafford.
Hmm.
Which I don't know, it's totally different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But uh yeah, I don't know. That's just outside the box thinking. Most likely the Rams are going to bring Jimmy G back or figure out which washed mediocre quarterback could back up Matthew Stafford, which
Yeah.
we're all gonna love when Matthew Stafford has to miss a game because he has like a thumb injury or something, and then the Rams just absolutely get like pancaked by whoever's on their schedule.
Yeah. So if Les Snead is watching episode 1 of Ram
Imagine.
Chowder, right? So what you're telling to him is you don't want Tua Tagovailoa.
No.
Okay, okay. Just wanted to put that out there.
No, no. He should not be medically cleared to be playing in the NFL at all. That's just I don't know. I'm not a team doctor,
Yeah.
but
And you know what? Like I man, so much to unpack there. I'm just gonna leave it alone. No, I'm gonna say it. What concerns me the most, and I totally get his remarks of like, oh, all of a sudden everyone's concerned about me, like y'all don't know me type of remarks, right? But as a human being, what concerns me the most is just how like nonchalant he is about these concussions, and it's like, oh. But anyways, I think I'll have to agree with you on the Kyler Murray over Tua for sure, though.
Yeah, like Kyle Murray's proven that he's at least fantasy relevant. So,
Yes. Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
before we go,
yeah.
so there's been through the rumor mill that the Rams applied to have new uniforms next season. Now, I don't know if they're going to be that much different. It could literally just be minor tweaks on what they already have going on.
Mhm.
So the Rams released a draft hat, and the draft hat has the LA logo on it,
Yes.
but it doesn't have that gradient, yellow to white thing, which, not gonna lie to you, Rams almost lost me when they
With
when they
that move
released
alone.
when they released those back in the day.
Yeah.
These um but so now it's just like it's like the Warner, it's just blue and yellow.
Yeah.
What the draft had is. Now, I'm not getting too ahead of myself because it's just a draft hat.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're losing the gradient. It doesn't mean that they're moving on to something else.
Yeah.
They're certainly keeping the LA logo. I became a Rams fan when they had a helmet as a logo.
Yeah.
There's something 90s about you not having a real logo and you have to use your helmet as a logo, like the Browns and like the
Yeah.
Chargers. Like,
Uh,
so are you excited by the idea we might have new uniforms? Do you like the current uniforms? Where are you
you,
at on this?
I'm gonna if I had to make a decision now, I'm going to say I am excited on the idea of new uniforms. Now, when these current uniforms first came out, I did not like it. I felt like, um, ironically enough, it wasn't a huge change to the Coliseum LA Rams of 2016, 2017, right? But it wasn't that much different of a change, but it was just enough of a change to piss me off for some reason. Like I just like I didn't like. There's something about it. Having said all that, I have those colors did grow on me over the years, but I would like to see something slightly different now. I do like your prediction. If it's anything like the Kurt Warner or even anything like the Coliseum 2016, 2017 area, I'd be down for that.
I do like the idea when the Rams kind of don't. It's interesting because when the Rams had that sand metallic gold navy uniforms,
Mhm.
looking like realistically at the time I thought they were shit compared to like the blue yellow,
Yeah.
the blue and gold or
Mhm.
And then they try a version of the blue and gold with this. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually think this shade of blue is very unique.
Yes.
It's like this royal blue. It's got its own color to it. I did like the idea of the bone jerseys because they're an off-white. So I like the creativity of this. I didn't feel like the Rams needed an LA logo per se,
Mhm.
but I've learned to not hate it. It's just I am a fan if they get rid of the gradient yellow to white thing. And I
Mhm.
would love if they got rid of that at least on the numbers.
Yeah.
Um, it just looks tacky, in my opinion. It's not as
Mhm.
creative as they probably thought they were.
Mhm.
I feel like they were 75% on pace for a really good idea,
Yeah.
and then they jumped the shark and went a little too far.
Yeah.
They kind of switched up though a little bit. They did release like the classic uniform where it's just a straight blue number, white jersey,
Mhm.
yellow sleeves, and then they came out with the midnight uniforms, which is I think also a straight number.
Mhm.
Am I misremembering that, or is that was
Mhm.
that a gradient number two?
Mhm.
Let me look that up real quick before I talk out of my ass.
Uh,
But
Rams midnight jersey.
it's I feel like
I
it's
want to say it was a straight number. Yeah.
all
From what I
right.
could see, was it this one right here?
Yeah, it's just the white. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a straight number. They have like that,
Oh, the
m-
little gradient holes though.
like that meshy look. It's fine. I'll take
Yeah.
that. I'll settle for that.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't change colors.
Yeah, which I think they would still. I don't know if it's a role with the rivals thing, the NFL
Mhm.
rivals campaign, that they have to keep the midnight jersey for another season. So
Gotcha.
even if they change their uniforms, I think they would have to change. I mean, have to keep that one.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, or they have to keep the idea though, but the midnight thing just has to apply to their new style. But they have
The
to
new
keep
ones.
maybe
Yeah.
the color scheme or something like that.
Hmm.
That being said, it would be nice if they kind of they switched it up, got rid of the gradient thing, went to a little bit more solid, just blue and yellow, you
Yeah.
know, kind of lose some of the white in some areas. And but we'll see. I have a feeling though the colors are gonna stay the same though. I feel like
Hmm.
we're gonna get that blue still, and that
Yeah.
I feel like the yellow could be darker. I wouldn't mind if they kind of added some navy, maybe, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how they look, or we'll see if they even have new. They could. We could just go into the next season with the same gradient look, and
Yeah.
that draft hat was just a red flag
Yeah. Yeah.
or a false flag.
False flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
All right. Do you have any thoughts before we finish up the first episode?
Yeah, just a general lasting thought from me is, um, despite any first impressions I might have had about the recent trade here with the Rams and the Chiefs, it does feel generally good, right? Like one thing you'll learn is we have Brian as our kind of resident expert Rams fan, right? So when it comes to being a Rams fan, he's put in some years, he's put in some work. Um, I usually, on the other hand, like to go more on feel, and I feel like good vibes about this trade, despite kind of my first impressions about it.
If they win a Super Bowl, does it matter? No. So I guess that's where it's at.
There it is.
Um, yeah. For this first episode, it's been a while since I've done a visual episode, so I feel like I probably have some wandering eyes. There's probably some moments where I'm like scratching my hair, touching my face, stuff like that, you
Yeah.
know. Where can they find your other content, Lex?
Yeah. So, if you're interested in my other content, just out of curiosity, if you just want to support, or if you are into Pokemon, all things Pokemon, I can be found at Lex the Catcher, on most social medias, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And yeah, feel free to go follow me there, if you're interested in Pokemon, or if you just want to support, at Lex the Catcher.
There you go. And for me, sorry, LA sports fans. The other project I have is the LA Clips Forum. Started that off with my buddy Jesse. My buddy Jesse had to move on to other things, so now I would say I have a circular host thing going, but really it's Jake Barnes and Trent Maddox. They're great guys. Trent Maddox has been a Clippers fan since forever, and he's great.
Nice.
And is our Clippers insider. So if you're a Rams and Clippers fan, go check that out. If you're a Rams Lakers fan, then just stay here. There you go. Just say hi to Lex.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we could get into some of our other sports interests maybe at some point later in this road. We have a long off season.
Yeah.
There will be some probably drier episodes at
Yeah. Yeah.
some point, but
We could do
Ra-
some mini segments of the other sports, for
but
the off seasons.
but the Rams came in hot with this trade, so we decided to debut. I have a saying at the end of every Clippers podcast, and I'm going to just bring it over here because I think it's a good one. But you guys could be doing anything with your time, but you spent it with us, and we appreciate it. We're out.